In the late 1940s, the CIA began covert operations in Syria after Syrians rejected an oil pipeline in their country. The United States also had issues with anti-Western sentiment and a large communist party. CIA operatives met with military leaders in Damascus and plotted to overthrow a 3-year-old democratically elected civilian government. It backed the Nationalist Party during the election in 1947. 2 years later, the CIA sponsored a military coup. During a BBC interview in 1967, CIA agent Miles Copeland admitted as much.
The State Department practically asked not to be informed in this case. We did inform the State Department, and as you've read the book, you know this case where simply it was hinted to us that we had best shut up about what was happening in the country, and if Hosni Zaim, the case in point, you are talking about
the Syrian case, when you overthrew the Syrian government.
If Hosni Zaim wanted to have a coup, and if his intention was to get rid of the corrupt government and establish a democratic government, we should leave him alone and stay out of it.
And that was the State Department policy, but in fact, you very largely organized, directed it, I mean you personally, but you were among the team who did it, organized and directed this coup.
Exactly.
In 1957, the CIA and MI6 planned another coup in Syria and the assassination of 3 top Syrian leaders. Documents revealed in 2003 spell out the details of the plan, including an invasion in response to manufactured border incidents and internal disruptions inside the country, including agitating the Shia Druze minority. Frontier incidents and border clashes would be staged to provide a pretext for Iraq and Jordanian military intervention. According to the CIA and MI6, Syria had to be made to appear as the sponsor of plots, sabotage, and violence directed against neighboring governments. In the United States, the effort was led by Kermit Roosevelt, the grandson of President Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt led the coup that overthrew the democratically elected government of Iran in 1953. The plot was abandoned, however, when Jordan, Iraq, and Turkey refused to cooperate. The following year, the Baathists took power and embraced the pan-Arab nationalism of General Nasser in Egypt. In 2011, it was revealed that the State Department financed Syrian political opposition groups and related projects, including a satellite TV channel that sent anti-government programming into the country. Barada TV began broadcasting in 2009. It is closely affiliated with the Movement for Justice and Development, a London-based network of Syrian exiles associated with the Muslim Brotherhood. The link was mentioned in a diplomatic cable sent from the U.S. Embassy in Damascus in July 2009. Reuters reported the Salafist leadership attempting to overthrow Assad is comprised primarily of Muslim Brotherhood operatives. The command structure was established by the U.S., Britain, France, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Turkey. The Syrian National Council, originally the face of the Western-backed opposition, was dominated behind the scenes by the Brotherhood. In 2012, the CIA used the organization to smuggle weapons into Syria over the southern border of Turkey. According to Miles Copeland, the CIA began cooperating with the Muslim Brotherhood in 1955. Saeed Ramadan, the son-in-law of the founder of the Brotherhood, was a longtime CIA and British intelligence asset, according to the Swiss. That same year, British intelligence used the Brotherhood to agitate against the government in Syria after it announced a desire to merge with Egypt.
The flags of Egypt and Syria fly side by side in Cairo as the 2 Arab nations merge. Presidents al-Kawatli of Syria and Nasser of Egypt lead in the political joining of the 2 states that are separated geographically by Israel.
The Muslim Brotherhood became an important asset after Nasser announced the Egyptian takeover of the Suez and talked about a collective Arab security pact within the framework of the Arab League. After the Ba'athist coup in 1963, the Brotherhood recruited Sunni Islamists to confront the government. The Islamists killed Syrian civilians, off-duty security personnel, and security forces. The violence reached a climax in 1982 when Hafez al-Assad besieged the town of Hama for 27 days in order to put down an uprising by the Muslim Brotherhood. Between 10 and 40,000 Syrian citizens were killed and the city destroyed. After 30 years of exile, the Muslim Brotherhood was back in business in Syria during the Arab Spring.
الإخوانية إلى سوريا الإخوانية إلى غزة إلى مصر إلى ليبيا إلى تونس إلى المغرب، وهنالك صراع على سوريا أيضا من أجل أن تكتمل إمبراطورية الإخوان المسلمين، وهنالك أيضا فرع لهم في العراق. الآن إخوان المسلمين بدل أن يكون حزب إسلامي أصبح حزب سني.
Representatives of the brothers traveled to Turkey to join other opposition groups based outside the country in setting up the Syrian National Council. Although the Free Syrian Army was portrayed in the West as secular and moderate, it was actually controlled by the brothers and other radical Wahhabi Salafists. In 2013, the Free Syrian Army said it welcomed al-Qaeda in the fight to depose Assad.